Hello, I'm on here a little bit early, so y'all can have time to join. So we'll wait and see and give people time to join. We're going to talk about taking birth back. This is for Christian women who are called to minister to pregnant and birthing women. So we're going to talk about some opportunities to be a certified childbirth educator, a certified birth doula, or a certified postpartum doula. So we'll give everybody a few minutes here to join before we get started. And hopefully we won't have a problem with the weather. We got a little bit of rain and storms coming through here in Kentucky, but hopefully our internet and power will keep working for us. So we will start in just a few minutes. This is a great opportunity to provide services from a Christian woman to a woman that's in labor, giving birth, or even postpartum. Or perhaps you're interested in being a childbirth educator. We have a certification program for that as well. And a lot of our students are actually planning to combine certifications, be certified in more than one area. So a lot of them prefer to provide doula services and then teach childbirth education classes to their own clients that are doula clients. And that way they can really provide everything that that woman and her husband or partner need for education, labor and birth, and maybe even as a postpartum doula. So lots of opportunities that we're going to talk about this evening. And we're talking about taking birth back so that we can really look at how to provide those services with a Christian perspective. So, as we said, we'll get started here in a few more minutes. Give people time to join and then we'll get started. So, we have been providing childbirth education certification for just a couple years, and already we have a demand for providing a doula certification with that Christian perspective. So, I'm Susan White. I'm a certified nurse midwife with childbirth education for the Christian family. And we have some amazing women that are in our program already. And we just want to expand that opportunity for more women. So, very exciting times that we're in. The Lord is opening doors to provide this much needed service. There are so many women that need support in labor, and their husbands can be a great support person, but sometimes we don't want the dads to get overwhelmed. And that's when a doula can really come in and be that second pair of hands to provide that labor support, give dad a break, maybe give him some direction of some other comfort measures that they can try. And, even if you have a great labor and delivery nurse, they're very busy. They may have 2 patients in labor at the same time, perhaps, depending on what facility that you're in. And if the mom is high risk, they might just have 1 patient. Either way, sometimes the nurse is not able to give as much labor support as she would like to because she's very busy with the nursing task, the medical management, and that type of thing. And so that's where a doula can come in and really work as as a partner with that whole healthcare team to help that mom get the type of labor and birth that she really desires. And it's a very important part of that team because we know that it can really make a difference to have a healthier and safer labor and birth. And we'll talk about that some more in a few minutes when we have that doula present. So it really does matter. And we're going to look at some of those advantages in just a few minutes. So we're waiting to see who else is going to join. And we'll get started here just about 1 more minute. So I'm excited to have you on the live stream today. And we have, like I said, an amazing opportunity for you to take advantage of. And we really need this service. We really need to be reaching more women in the name of Jesus Christ and provide them not just physical and emotional support, but that spiritual support. And that is so important, really, that prayer and um, Hearing those scriptures can be very encouraging in labor. So, labor is really hard work for that mom, and we really want to provide that whole package of support for her. Okay, just checking my time here, and we will go on and get started here in just about one more minute. So, if you join after we get started, please put in the chat where you're from, and we can ask questions at the end. So, we'll go on and get started. I've got 7 o'clock. So, my name is Susan White. I'm a certified nurse midwife with childbirth education for the Christian family. And we're going to talk about taking birth back today. A little bit about my background. I have over 30 years experience as a labor nurse, a childbirth educator, also as a lactation consultant, and as a certified nurse midwife. And so during all those years, I have taught childbirth education classes, and I love teaching with the Christian perspective. And so when I was looking at retiring, the Lord put it on my heart to put this program together for certifications for childbirth educators, and now we're expanding that for also birth doulas and postpartum doulas. And that's what we want to talk about tonight. This new program that will be a great opportunity for those of you that really want to minister to pregnant women and birthing women. So let me share my screen, and we'll go over a few slides here to explain the program. And we'll get this pulled up. All right. So we do want to take birth back. So what does that mean? That means as Christians, we really want to provide that childbirth education and those doula services with that Christian worldview. So we really want to take birth back from the negative influences that are out there. We really want to avoid things that are going to conflict with our biblical and Christian viewpoint. So we really want to take birth back from the influences of, like, for example, New Age methods like hypnosis. And did you know yoga was actually an Eastern type of religion? Oh, I see somebody joined. Hello. Where are you from? You can put that in the chat. And we're glad to have you. So, you know what? Let me go back for just a second and do my little intro again. So, my name is Susan White, and I'm a certified nurse midwife, and I've got over 30 years' experience with birthing as a childbirth educator. Hi, you're from Florida. Glad to have you. And as a labor nurse and lactation consultant and a certified nurse midwife. And so we've put together this program to certify childbirth educators from a Christian point of view. And we are now expanding that so that we have certification options for being a birth doula or postpartum doula. And as Christians, we really want to take birth back for the Lord. We really want to take birth back from the influences that are out there in the world. And that includes new age methods like hypnosis, even yoga. People don't realize that that's actually based on Eastern religion. And the purpose of that is to get into that state of Eastern meditation, which actually you see in this little picture here. When we get into Eastern meditation, it shuts down our front lobe of our brain so that we can't really see the difference between right and wrong and make good decisions and that type of thing. And so we really don't want to really get into that. We can have a lot of comfort measures that are very effective for labor and birth without even resorting to all those. Also, there's the problem with gender confusion, and my heart just goes out. There's so many women that decided to transition their gender and then they decided to detransition. And then if you read their testimony, they're just, even if they become Christians, they still are struggling with what they're left with. And so those women need ministry as well. Also, the worldview of the family a lot of times does not line up with the biblical view. And then so many women are afraid of childbirth. So all right. You're very interested in becoming a birth and postpartum doula, and you found me a couple days ago, and it's answered a prayer. Thank you so much. I love that comment. And so, doesn't the whole hypnobirthing thing? Yeah. So there's even a Christian hypnobirthing supposedly, and sometimes they will tell you it's not really hypnotism, but then the question is, why are they calling it that? Right? Because hypnotism, like we said in this little picture here, the frontal part of your brain gets shut down when you're doing hypnotism. And so if you get into the program, I have some great videos from a man that was actually into all this, and then he became a Christian, and he explains medically and scientifically what happens to our brain with Eastern meditation, and just opens us up, to so much possible evil influences. And so we really don't need to go there. There's so many methods we can use to have women prepared for labor and birth without resorting to that. So, and like I said, the worldview of the family definitely a lot of times doesn't line up with that biblical view. And then so many women are afraid of childbirth. So, yeah, so I'm glad to have you on. So if we look at what the Bible says, this is the victory that's overcome the world, even our faith. So who is it that overcomes the world? Only he who believes that Jesus is the Son of God, right? So we know that that is true. And so we really want to take birth back for the Lord. So we can provide childbirth education, birth doula services, postpartum doula services, and all of that from a Christian perspective. And so, as I said, we've had the childbirth education certification going for a few years now, but we're opening up to also have birth doula certification and postpartum doula certification. And then some of our women that are already in the program, they're going to, like, maybe they've already done the childbirth education piece, but they're going to add in one of the doula certifications as well. So they can provide like the whole package to their clients. So that's really exciting. And we've had a lot of doulas actually come through the childbirth education program and have stated that our content is so much more comprehensive, and they've really, really learned a lot. So we've really tried to make the whole content to be evidence-based and up to date and really complete so that you really feel ready to begin once you're done. So, if we look at the research with childbirth education, it can really make a difference when those couples take those classes. And the research they found improved self-efficacy, which is a strengthened sense of control and self-confidence. They have less use of epidural anesthesia when they've gone through childbirth classes. And this is interesting. What they remember about their pain, their reported pain level from their memory is actually less when they've done childbirth education classes. So that's cool. Birth doulas make a big difference as well. They have shorter labors. They use Pitocin less. They have less C-sections. They have a higher breastfeeding rate. They have more maternal satisfaction, and they're less likely to use pain medication or epidurals. And postpartum doulas can make a difference. They found those women have a better postpartum adjustment, greater breastfeeding success, greater satisfaction with breastfeeding, greater self-confidence, and less postpartum depression. And they have a lower incidence of abuse. So, evidently, you feel like you're called to minister to pregnant women, right? So, this is the place to be. So we do have our nurse certification program that's just gone live this week for doulas. And so you do have the option to become a childbirth educator, birth doula, or postpartum doula. And like I said, you can even combine those. And that's how we can really make a difference in this world and really minister. And so here's how the certification is set up. All three different certifications are going to do the same certification core. And then you'll go on to your certification completion. So if we look at that in a little bit more detail, it'll make more sense. So everybody's going to do these same 10 modules, okay? And that includes the biblical view of birth, pregnancy, labor and birth, choices and interventions, complications, postpartum, newborn, comfort measures, breastfeeding, and then starting your ministry. So whatever certification you're looking at, everybody's going to do those same 10 modules. And then, of course, there are textbooks that are required, and that is a separate cost. So you do those 10 modules. After each module, you just work on those self-study. When you finish, we have online classes that you sign up for to review that module. And I do those live for whoever can sign up. I do like a rotation of classes so you can find a time and date that's convenient for you. And we just review all of your module content to make sure that you understand it, to see if you have any questions and that type of thing. So there again, those are live classes. And then you're required to observe another childbirth education class, and you're required to observe 2 labors and births. After all of that, everyone will take the same certification exam based on those 10 modules. It's multiple choice. Everyone's doing fine on the exam. And I even provide like the answer sheets for you to study. You can compare to your answer sheets to see if there's a question to prepare, but everybody's doing fine on that test. Okay, and then the next step is depending on which certification you're going to do, there's going to be one more module. So, this, for example, is childbirth education. The observation for the class, is that what you're asking, to be local or can it be online? Yeah, the classes can be online, definitely. Yeah, any class. And you're just gonna critique, like, how they're teaching and their teaching style and that type of thing. So, yeah, online is fine. So then for the childbirth education certification, you would complete one more module, the role of the childbirth educator, and then there'll be a review class for that. And then the checkoff to finish is to teach one childbirth education class. For the births, those need to be in person because whether you're going to be a childbirth educator or a doula, you really need to observe real labors and births. A lot of times the videos are just showing like a little snippet, right, of the labor and birth. And so you really want to see one in real life. What some of our students have done, they've actually gone to, like, some of the crisis pregnancy centers, resource pregnancy centers. A lot of times those women don't have a lot of support, and they volunteer to go and be at their birth to give them support, and they've counted that for their observation. So that's how some people have, gone about getting that done. All right. And then, like we said, the checkoff would be, to teach childbirth education class. Now, what's interesting is if you do the childbirth education certification, I do have a membership option. It's really inexpensive, like $50 a year, and you can use all of our teaching material. So I already have the PowerPoints made, everything's evidence-based. I've purchased the licensing for all the images, so there's no copyright issues. And anyway, you would have access to use all of that and the handouts to teach your own classes if you wanna do the membership option. Otherwise, you can just not be a member, and then you would have to put together your own classes, which is a lot of work. So everybody so far is choosing to do the membership. And so for the certification completion for the birth doula, like we said, everyone's going to have one more module, the role of the birth doula module, and that review class. And the checkoff for that would be to provide doula services for 2 labors and births. So that's in addition to the observations. Crystal Lang is one of our certification students that she's finished the program for the childbirth educator. She's also a doula and a doula instructor. And so she really helped me to put together these brand new modules. So I appreciated that. And then the postpartum doula certification is very similar. You complete that role of the postpartum doula module and that review class. And then you would also check off on providing postpartum services for 2 clients. Okay. Any questions on all of that so far? Is all that cool? Right. If you want more than no questions. Okay, if you want more than one certification, after you sign up and get into that, you can actually see at that point what, the other certification options are. And you know what? I can actually, stop sharing for a second, and let me go out of this for a second. And let me show you what it looks like once you get in there, what the modules look like. Let me pull this up so you can kind of get an idea. Excuse me. So for each module, there's a separate page. Excuse me. And so this is the biblical view of birth. So this video is actually my childbirth class, so you can review that. There's a module that you download right here that's a PDF. And what the way that that works, I can zoom in a little bit. We have the objectives, and so there's some a little bit of teaching in there. Mostly these are questions that you would answer based on the resources, and it tells you where the resources are. and you just work through all of that. And if something's not clear, then we go over all of this, like I said, in the module review class. Okay. So, and it's all based on the required textbooks. And then I also have links to like articles and that type of thing. And then, like, this would be the resources for that module. So, this is what I was talking about. This man was a Zen Buddhist and then he got saved. And these are really great resources, these videos about the dangers of Eastern meditation, mindfulness, hypnosis, and that type of thing. So it's very cool. And then this is where you would sign up for the next module review class. So they run in a rotation. I usually have one at 7 and one at 1 p.m. But I've had some, women that my schedule didn't work out for them for what was already pre-scheduled. And so I met with them separately, and I'm definitely open to that, to work around your schedule if we needed to do that. And then you would just upload your module, and then there's an evaluation you can fill out. So that's kind of how that's laid out. So let me go back over to the PowerPoint, and I have just a couple more slides here. Get to the right one. Pull it back up. So how much time do you have? We recommend like 6 to 9 months, but you actually have a whole year to complete it. And then for each additional certification, another 3 months is allowed. But I have had quite a few women, depending on what's going on in their life at the time, that had to request an extension, and that's fine too. We just want you to make sure you're moving through it. And then I've had some students, they go right through and they're done with all the modules in like less than 2 months. So it really depends on how much time you want to spend. It really varies. Some women, they'll spend like maybe 4 or 5 hours on each module, and some will just work on a little bit here and there. And so it may take them a few days to do one module. So it really varies a lot, but it just depends on how much time you have to put into it. And then we're going to have recertification every 5 years, and you can do that with taking some continuing education hours or critiquing some articles, either way to do that. So the cost is $4.99 for your first certification. Additional certifications are $1.99, but there's a code that I can give you in just a minute to get a discount. The textbooks are a separate cost, like we said. If you want to do the childbirth educator option, it's $50 per year, and the recertification every 5 years is $99. So it's pretty inexpensive compared to a lot of programs out there, but we really want to get to the point that we're ministering to more women more than, making the money, right? So, okay. And then here's the link, but I've got the link in the chat as well. And then let me also put in there the discount code to get 20% off while I'm doing these live sessions. Is going to be CERT 20. And that would be off your $4.99, or if you do the additional certifications as well, you'll see a place to sign up for that. So, and I'm not sure how to pronounce your name. It's so beautiful. Vintatia, is that right? Is that close? Did you have any other questions for me? You can put in the chat. I was close. Okay. Well, if you sign up, we'll get to talk in person and you can correct me. Yeah, the price for recertification is $199 extra. But you can go on, if you're interested in adding one of the other certifications as well, we can look at a discount code. And then the recertification, we said, and I just had that pulled up. I can pull it up again. Is $99. Let's see. There it is. Let me pull it up again because I kind of went through them kind of fast. Hold on. There we go. Alrighty. So yeah, so the first certification is $4.99. And then, additional certifications are $199, and the recertification is only 99 every 5 years. So and then the childbirth educator, that membership option to use all of our curriculum is like $50 a year. And that's what everybody's really doing that because they don't wanna make their put their whole class together. And then I try to keep things updated, pretty well, like, I just updated all of the modules, and I'll probably go on and update the PowerPoints for the childbirth classes, hopefully get those done by the end of the year as well. So I really try to keep things evidence-based, really try to look at the research that's out there, and make sure that we're up on everything, the best that we can be, right? To have the correct information. Yeah. Any other questions I can answer? And also, you know what else? We can set up a separate, like, video meeting if you would prefer. If you go to my website, I've got the link pinned at the top in the chat. There's a place that says, to contact us. You can email me there, and it's also got my email. If you want a separate video, meeting before you sign up, if you would like to, meet sort of in person, but virtually with a video call. Any other questions? Yeah, there are payment plans actually set up, and hold on, I can show you that. When you go to sign up, let me go back over, I'll get you pulled up here. So, when you go to the website, if you go what you'll do is go to certification and then go to doula educator certification or doula certifications. And then if you scroll down, you can actually make 4 payments of 135. You would just click on that, or if you wanna pay the whole thing. Okay? So there's payment plans for, either one for the doula and then for the educator. Do you know which one you're interested in? Yeah, here's the educator, and it's the same thing. Are you interested more in the educator or the doula certification? Have you decided? The birth doula, okay, yeah. Yeah, so like I said, just come to the website, go to certification, and then click on doula certifications. And then once you sign up, you'll have a log on. Once you log on, you'll have like an account up here and it will list your classes. So once you sign up, it'll list like the core certification classes and then your birth doula completion classes, if that makes sense. But you'll all those will be under your account and you'll just click on that to navigate. Yeah. So, any other questions? I know it's a lot of information I went over kind of quickly. No other questions. All right. So, like I said, if you want to go to the website, these are more informational sessions. This is the same as what I'm doing on YouTube. So, you've already had that. But you can also come here and there's a place that you can email, you can fill this out and that will come to me as an email. If you'd like to have a video call, we can get that set up as well there. Okay. And I think that's all I have. If you don't have any other questions for me, I'll be glad to meet with you, like I said, if you'd prefer that. And then otherwise, oh, you know what I didn't point out? Hold on. You can download this little summary infographic right here. You can download the certification requirements that we went over in detail, and you can download the list of required textbooks. So you can download all of that before you sign up to kind of get an idea of some of the details. So, well, I appreciate you taking time to join me this evening. Like I said, you can contact me through the website. It's got my email also at the bottom of each page right here that you can contact me that way too. So thank you so much. It was nice talking to you through the chat. So you have a good rest of your evening. Thank you. I'm going to go on and I think sign off because I think we're finished up. And thank you so much for joining. Okay, great. I'll be glad to hear from you. Thank you so much. You have a good evening. God bless.